Everyone has dignity and value as a human being.
Being different can't be the reason for discrimination.
Understanding the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities.
What is the optional protocol to the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities?
There are many promises in the world we live in. Promises such as not hurting each other, not stealing other people's stuff, and seeking happiness without discrimination exist in our society like the air we breathe. These promises were kept for a long time, existing up to today because these are promises that we all agreed on and accepted. If these promises are not kept and broken, the broken pieces will pile up and eventually hurt us. So specific regulations are needed to make sure promises are kept. The UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities was created to ensure the dignity and the rights of persons with disabilities. This is a promise that must be kept in order to make a society where everyone is happy. Another promise we have to keep in order to protect these promises. Let's talk about these promises from now on.
In this lecture, we will learn about what the optional protocol to the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities is, its details, and about individual communication procedure and ex officio investigation. What is the optional protocol? Up to now, we have learned about how the UN CRPD was created and its details. The fact that the world agreed upon making such convention is important, but what's more important is about how we can implement the provisions of the convention.
I agree. While learning about the content of the convention, I thought that it was really ensuring the inalienable rights of persons with disabilities through various perspectives. And I wish we live in a world where the provisions of the convention are actually fulfilled, not only existing as a written form.
Yes, this is why the UN CRPD also has optional protocol, along with the actual convention.
Oh, an optional protocol? What is it about?
Simply put, along with other binding international laws, the optional protocol stipulates that states parties does not violate the content of the convention and provides content that can be used as an opportunity to improve laws, policies, perspective, etc. on persons with disabilities on a national level.
It would be important to understand the purpose and meaning of the optional protocol as much as the convention itself.
Yes. As I mentioned before, the optional protocol to the UN CRPD was created to secure the effectiveness of the content of the convention. No matter how good the convention is, it would be meaningless if the content is just left in text. In this regard, the optional protocol makes sure the states parties follow the content of the UN CRPD. And in case it is not followed well, it acts as the basis of advising the states parties to follow the convention properly. States parties that signed on the optional protocol should observe the content of the optional protocol.
If the UN CRPD is a well-made dish made out of good ingredients, the optional protocol is a tool or a method of eating such a dish. Am I right?
A food as a metaphor. How brilliant! If you want to know whether your metaphor is correct or not, we should learn more about the details of the optional protocol. Details of the optional protocol.
How is the optional protocol composed? Is it composed of articles and paragraphs, just like the convention?
Yes, you are correct. The optional protocol consists of a total of 18 articles. Let's find out more about its details now. First of all, in the Article 1, it contains content about individual communication procedure. We will look further into this part later on. Simply put, individuals or groups of individuals who claim to be victims of a violation by the state party of the provisions of the Convention can communicate such violation to the committee, and state party shall recognize the competence of the committee.
Interesting. Then, what happens if a state party took the appropriate measures after the communication from the individual or group?
This is stated in the Article 3. If there are any matter and the remedy that have been taken by the state party shall submit a written explanation or statement clarifying its details to the committee within 6 months. Also, the committee shall hold closed meetings when examining communications. After examining a communication, the committee shall forward its suggestions and recommendations, if any, to the state party concerned and to the petitioner. This is well described in the Article 5.
So is it carried out through a closed meeting? I imagine proper information is required for investigation. And what about confirming the fulfillment of the convention by the state's parties?
Good question. This can be found in the Article 6. First of all, the committee can invite that state party to cooperate in the examination of the information, and to this end, submit observations with regard to the information concerned. The committee may designate one or more of its members to conduct an inquiry. Where warranted and with the consent of the state party, the inquiry may include a visit to its territory.
I see. Then I believe active cooperation and understanding of the state party would be needed.
Yes, the Article 6 is an article about ex officio investigation.
What are the other contents of the optional protocol?
I will tell you some of the articles which are good to keep in mind. In Article 11, it stipulates that in order to become the states parties of the optional protocol to the UN CRPD, they shall ratify or accede to the Convention. The Article 13 is about entering into force of the protocol. The protocol shall enter into force on the 30th day after the deposit of the 10th instrument of ratification or accession. And in the Article 17, it states that the text of the protocol shall be made available in accessible formats, providing in Braille or voice, in order to increase accessibility for persons with visual or hearing disabilities. I hope this comes of help to you. Shall we solve a quiz? The Committee on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities shall not disclose the content of the examining procedure and its results. Is it correct or wrong? What is your answer? The answer is no. Although the examining procedure is not made public, it is disclosed to the petitioner and to the state party concerned, and its results are also made public through the website and sent to the petitioner and to the state party concerned as well. Individual communication procedure and ex officio investigation. The optional protocol contains two core content, which we have already seen before. It is individual communication procedure and ex officio investigation. First of all, individual communication procedure is a remedial policy for when the rights of persons with disabilities are violated and no remedies are provided properly from a state party. It is a policy that enables the request for remedy from the UN Committee on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. The committee shall proceed the inquiry through a set procedure. Shall we take a look? When the communication is received, a consideration of admissibility is carried out whether the communication is eligible for inquiry.
Oh, then what if it is not deemed admissible, and what are the criteria for its consideration?
If it is not admissible, an inquiry is not carried out and notify the petitioner and the state party concerned. The judgment criteria are stated in Article 2 of the optional protocol. The committee shall consider a communication inadmissible when the communication is anonymous. The same matter has already been examined by the committee. All available domestic remedies have not been exhausted. The communication constitutes an abuse of the right of submission. It is manifestly ill-founded. If the consideration of admissibility is completed, the examination of the merits begins. If a decision is made through an examination, the results are notified to the petitioner and the state party concerned.
How can they check follow-up measures after the notification?
If the Committee on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities notifies the decision and recommendation to the state party concerned, a written report on follow-up measures is to be submitted within 6 months after receiving the notification.
So, the effort and confirmation of the committee is carried out until the rights of persons with disability are properly restored. Then, what is an ex officio investigation? You've mentioned earlier that it has something to do with the Article 6 of the optional protocol, didn't you?
That's right. Ex officio investigation means that Committee on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities carries out data collection and investigation confidentially when there is a reliable information on violations of the rights of persons with disabilities by a state party. If required, the committee visits the state party concerned for investigation after receiving permission. Therefore, individual communication procedure and ex officio investigation are all institutions created to ensure the rights of persons with disabilities more practically.
I'm relieved that there are the optional protocol, individual communication procedure, and ex officio investigation to protect the rights of persons with disabilities.
What is the optional protocol to the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities? Let's summarize what we have learned. The optional protocol is a protocol created to strengthen and enhance the fulfillment of the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. The optional protocol consists of 18 articles concerning content such as the authority of the Committee on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, specific details on individual communication procedure, and ex officio investigation, the response of states parties that received specific suggestions and recommendations from the Committee, and the period of enactment and enunciation of the protocol. Individual communication procedure is a policy for persons with disabilities to communicate violations of the Convention of the state party to the Committee. An ex officio investigation means that the Committee on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities carries out data collection and investigation confidentially when there is a reliable information on violations of rights of persons with disabilities by a state party.